Should you go into IT as a career? Let's talk about that. Hey, this is Tom at Tom's Tech Show. And many years ago when I started in IT, it was kind of a new field. There wasn't any. You could go to college and kind of get, I think I had a Pascal class, a Fortran 77 class. Yeah, 1977. That's Fortran 77. So it wasn't new. I mean, I think the first year in college I had was the first year that they didn't make the starting students in the one programming class, they didn't make them run punch cards through the big punch card machine, which was good because I've heard, nightmare stories, somebody come and switch one punch card, move one punch card in your stack and nothing would work. So I didn't really want to deal with that. So that was good that I missed that. But at the time when I was getting into IT and trying to start doing what I wanted to do, everything was just kind of the whole desktop Windows kind of system and everything was just really getting started and really starting to grow. I mean, you were moving away from, green letter, Weiss terminals and stuff, and getting people with PCs on their desk that they could actually do spreadsheets and different things like that. And then moving into getting, at that time, for connecting all the systems together and sharing files, we were using Novell NetWare and things like that. So you kind of had to learn it as you went. You couldn't really go to a college somewhere and say, okay, this is how Novell NetWare works. This is how networking works. This is how all these things connect, because every 5 or 6 months, a new technology would come out. You'd have to run new cable, do something new. We were upgrading from ArcNet to 10 base 2 ThinNet and running all that cable everywhere and keeping things going. I mean, ThinNet was new. You're not going to go to college and get that training, right? I mean, today's a little bit better. Some of the companies that have create the products now have, they've had certifications for a long time, and most of them know that if you want to have people, get proficient at what you're doing, you can have them get a certification. Most of the people that I've worked with that have gone and taken the test and done the certifications that they have really didn't have any practical experience and didn't really have any problem solving experience. And that was a problem with some of the people in the little trade schools that run you through 9 months. Oh, bing, here you go, you got your certification. Or you go to a certification camp where you go spend 2 weeks there and you test on all these different certifications, which just means I can memorize this one day and I can spit it out the next day. But when you get into troubleshooting scenarios, something is wrong and you need to be able to figure out what it is, what's going on, and debug something and fix something that's broken, those tests don't help much. So they're good that they give you a good base knowledge of what it's supposed to look like, typically ideal environments, but being able to diagnose and problem solve is really one of the key kind of attributes that you need in order to get into information technology. So much of it is about problem solving. So much of it is about logic and a little bit of understanding of math and how numbers work to do different calculations and loops and things like that. So you need some of that. I mean, math and I took a logic class way back in college, and that kind of I could get through that, and that kind of gave me the real base understanding. Okay, I need to take things and break problems down and solve them step by step, and try something and see how that works, see if that fixes it. Take the information that you're given, get the kind of the best resolution and move forward. Some of years ago, deployments of different things were a little bit harder. Today, a lot of things are web-based and kind of wizard-based and stuff. So that's good. If you want to get into programming that's another thing. But I was going to take a look here really quick. If we go over here, I found an article that just says list of the top 10 paying tech careers right now. This is from November 20th, 2019. Enterprise architect is what one often reports directly to the CIO. You're designing everything in your environment. You're designing everything in the business, from your ERP system to accounting to payroll to product management. Getting all the pieces together and stuff. It's can be a lot of stress if you're working with good people. They're saying average salary is $115,000. Software development manager. So many things today, right? Your phone, right? My phone, this is software. It's some hardware, but it has a lot of software, and it can change with software. My iPad, definitely a lot of software. Something as small as this is Arduino. Software goes on here and runs and does stuff. That's what's running these little lights that are going up and down over here. Here's an Arduino that I have pegged up against the wall here, and a little microphone. How all that works together and connects is software development. And the manager helps to guide with the leader of the CTO and sales and everything for where the product should go, and use the software development manager help to guide the product and keep all the developers, all the little rodents, running in the same direction. So software engineering managers is very similar. And I think software architect, which is someone who's also designing software. You can see a lot of these things are software based. And the nice thing about being in software development is you can kind of do what I'm doing. I mean, I have an office that I go to. It's only a mile away. But a lot of days I'll just stay here, camp here in my home office, and be able to work from home. Or if I have to travel, I can work from wherever I'm traveling. I have a family. Everybody has family events, right, that happen all the time. So we can, easily, jump in a car. My wife can be driving, and boom, I can be over on the other side working, handling meetings and other things. We've got, cell phones that we can tether to, all these different things. So software is a really pretty good career if you like it. I mean, if you don't, that's the biggest thing, I guess, is if you like it. Application development, again, is another software thing. Solution architect, another kind of software thing where you're getting a problem. You have a problem and you need to help design how the software is going to work, or how that's, whether it's going to be a mix of hardware, software, different things like that. Data architect, so that's people who design how your database is going to work. Often all information that we get and give off to the internet, all that needed to be put into a database, and somebody needed to design that database, how to make it efficient, how to make it secure, all those different things. Systems architect, so you have a business that has servers, routers, switches, all these different things. They all need to be designed and created in such a way to maintain efficiency and reliability and all that. And systems architect does that. Cloud engineer. So this is kind of a new one that's coming up, of course, with AWS and Azure and all these different cloud-based systems. How to design, basically taking your systems architect and making them work on cloud stuff. Then data science, with all the AI that's going on, how do we use that? How do we utilize that, make that better for people, and get companies to get information out of it? So that's another place that you can go. And so you really have to start diving into some of these things. And the great thing, I guess, about technology right now is that there's so much stuff online that you can go to some of the free universities and start taking some classes and seeing, do I like this? Go grab, maybe I want to be a programmer. Go grab a $5 Arduino or a $35 Raspberry Pi and start writing some code. and you'll learn pretty quick. You do that for like 6 months of writing code and making your Arduino do different things, make your Raspberry Pi do different things, and all that, and you'll find out, wow, this is fun, or man, this is tedious. I wish I were doing something else, and that'll tell you right away whether you want to be, because you have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to be having fun. If you're not having fun, then you need to start moving towards a job where you're having fun, because you're going to be, basically doing it for, a lot of your life, majority of your life. Okay, so Cisco is another place where people can get certifications and basically work up a ladder of pay. So, I mean, Cisco certified people who are routing and switching certified make about $93,000. That's fairly good in the IT world. But you have to be good in order to do it. So you really have to like working at a command line and working at all those commands and configurations and stuff that Cisco has to do that. So I mean, it's another thing that you can do, right? You can get in, find out what all the commands are and how they work. I think you can buy a pretty cheap. If you really want to do this, you could buy, I think on Amazon, you can buy a pretty cheap little Cisco ASA router and start digging into that, hook it up at your house and start doing things with it, and stuff. So go through that and see if you like it. It's very expansive in what you can do for security and routing and switching. And if you really want to get into all the networking and stuff of it, and you're into that, you really love the technical part of that, then Cisco is definitely another way to go. Now, the biggest thing I think that's coming up is cybersecurity specialists. Every company, a few years ago, every company started getting, you have your CIO, your CTO. Now they have a CSO, I think, which is a chief security officer. So that's somebody in the company that is overseeing security. And with all the different breaches and hacks and everything that are going on, data getting leaked and everything else, security is a big job. I think these salaries for security people are going to keep going up because it's going to be a high pressure job, though. You got to know that. I mean, because if somebody gets into your system, it's on you to find it and to, expose it, shut it down, then report out that we had this breach and stuff, and then you got to do all this investigation for why it happened and to be able to shut it down and go back and review that. So that can be, it should be making more money than they're showing here on this list. But that was last updated January 5th, 2020. So I'm expecting those cybersecurity things to go up in pay as the stress and the number of attacks continue to increase. So if you're going to get into IT, start getting into, find something that you enjoy doing. I mean, for me, myself, I'm doing, I'm kind of, right now I'm kind of managing IT for an internet startup company and just kind of being the director of IT and kind of grown into all these positions over the years because I had so much experience and knew the things that needed to be done. I could get it done and I could direct people to help and move things forward and get things set where they want. So I end up being basically all of these. I'm a software architect for, IT stuff. I do enterprise architecture for the company. So I do solutions architecting. I do some data architecting. I'm a cloud engineer because we've moved everything to AWS. I do, all these things. So you got to know that maybe at some point I'm kind of an IT generalist. I know a little bit of everything and I can move through anything and be able to get everything done. And if you're one of those kind of people, you're also valuable. You're also able to do, a lot of the things and make yourself valuable in that a company with a small IT staff needs more generalized people so that they can get in and do all the different pieces. So that's always been my kind of niche throughout the years, is get into companies that need somebody who can do pretty much anything that needs to be done, and then either do it quickly, learn it on the spot, and be able to understand it quickly and see how it's supposed to work, things are supposed to work, and get them designed and deployed and all of that. So, I mean, if you see some of my things in my videos, I have a lot of AWS scripting things. I mean, it didn't take long for me to go from how does AWS work, click in the web interface, to now, okay, I know PowerShell, they have a PowerShell API, boom, I'm writing PowerShell to go and do all these different functions. So you have to be able to move back and forth. But if you find a niche that you like you want to be an application programmer, I mean, a lot of application programmers, for phone apps and things like that, a lot of that has been moved to India just because the cost is so much less. But you could be a person who manages that, right? That would be pretty cool to be able to manage, a team in India who's developing a cloud app. But a lot of this requires, you to sit down, find out what you want, find a school that's going to teach it to you. Some of it may be online kind of trade school kind of things. Some of it may be just getting a simple, technology degree from a university and then, move on from there. But you got to find your niche. Definitely find out what you really enjoy doing. I mean, if you enjoy playing with a lot of toys and a lot of different types of things, maybe a system architect who gets to go out and research all of these things and play with them, maybe that's something that you could do. Maybe an enterprise architect, that you get to bring in a lot of things, find out how a lot of things work, and see if that's going to work, and design a big, huge thing. I mean, you almost need to be a little bit artistic, to design your enterprise and be able to see how it all works from location to location, get all the locations connected, how that's going to connect, doing all these different things. So find what you enjoy and then move from there if you're going to get into IT. And understand that some things, like if you want to get into cybersecurity, it's going to be higher stress. Definitely, because as more security breaches come, you're going to be the one it's a reactionary. You can put all your defenses in place, but it's still a little bit reactionary when something does happen. And hopefully you're not at a company that points fingers. So some of the other companies that do that in this security thing are ones that do penetration testing and find out and test people's networks and software and everything for how well it can withstand somebody trying to hack into it. And that could be pretty good, because then you're not the one that's dealing with the breach. You're telling people you need to fix A, B, and C. But a lot of these things take a lot of experience and a lot of time. So you're going to have to start probably smaller and grow and just continue learning. That's the other thing. I mean, there are some jobs that once you learn how to do something, it's going to pretty much, a lot of jobs, they're going to pretty much like accounting. I mean, you're adding numbers from one column to another column, and you're updating spreadsheets and things like that. And not much of that is going to change, and you have to really like numbers to be able to do that. I mean, there's a few probably conferences that let you learn a few different things, learn a few different new programs or whatever to be able to do accounting. But accounting is still accounting. Column A, you subtract from one column, you have to add to another column. Boom. But things like medical field, technology field, you have to keep learning all the time. So if you're someone who really enjoys learning, then IT, computers is definitely something that you would love to get into, to be able to learn new things, do new things. I mean, when I wanted to make these lights that are over here, let me switch over there to my bigger shot. I wanted to make these lights over here do this, and with the audio, and I'm like, well, how am I going to do that? I have these lights, So let me find this out. So I had to go learn all this stuff, develop, working in the little code that works on an Arduino. Go find this little microphone that's here and find out how it works and wire that up. There's a little wire that goes over here. Right here, there's the Arduino on the wall, and then that runs over to the lights and stuff and then I even add, like if I rub it here, you can see there's lights that blink. There's random, even put in random lights as it comes up. There's like a randomness to it, even though it's still moving up and down with the volume. There is, if I'm rubbing on it, you can see it there's some little sparkles that are in there. That's because I have some randomness to it. So all these little things that keep me excited, keep me going. And that's what I like with IT. It's always been somebody's brought out something new. There's something new that I can try. There's something new that I can do. I mean, there's videos on here of my Christmas lights, that run to music and everything else. So if you dig that kind of stuff, then maybe IT is for you. And if you dig learning and problem solving, then it's a pretty good career. So, all right. Well, let me know if you're going to dig into IT and what area you want to get into. I just kind of grew out of whatever situation I moved myself into. I was able to learn it and move it, like from retail stores to big businesses with ERP systems, manufacturing. Now I'm with a internet startup company and stuff. So there's all kinds of different, being able to move forward and change. Sometimes the only bad thing about IT is that sometimes you can't move up and advance often unless you change companies. So you have to know that's kind of a volatility in IT, is that if you're somewhere for more than 4 or 5 years for IT, you're really at the stretch of how long IT people stay at a company. Somebody who's been at a company like 10 years who's in IT I don't find that many people, right? I know they're out there, but I would say probably half of the people at IT have been at their job for 5 years or less, because once they get to a certain proficiency, they're not moving up in the company. When you get to where I am in the position I am, is I have no up to go other than to go to another company and have a higher position. So, there's a little bit of that, but with that also comes some good challenges. You move to another company, you have to learn all new systems. You have to learn how things, work there, and learn some new technology and be able to grow and learn. So, in some ways it's good, I guess. In some ways it's bad, but I've always tried to take the good of it as I've moved forward. So, all right. Well, that's hopefully, if you look into getting in a career in IT, you'll find the spot that you really enjoy and be able to move forward. All right. This is Tom's Tech Show, and thanks for watching this one. Like, share, subscribe, all those fun YouTube things, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.